Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Biblio Fitness. Hope everyone's had a great day. Made some fantastic gains this morning, or whenever it is that you watch this. Oh, my apologies. It's a rest day. It's time to stock up on some calories for the next bout of training. Feels good. Getting bigger. God damn. That's crazy. But yeah, today I did want to discuss section 513, which is titled Limits and Beauty. And it continues on with what I have been, with the videos that I've been discussing recently about, I guess the definitions of these specific words such as beauty, will have to change when your perspective changes, right? Like when you're no longer looking at looking at things morally. The word beauty itself has to change, or what the parameters of what beauty entails has to change along with that. It has to be revolutionized, has to be reformed. It's just because we can't look at it from. When you go past that morality thing, you can't look at it, you can't describe stuff as beautiful that still sit within those parameters or meet the standards of the current morality. You're just not there anymore. But yeah, it's titled Limits and Beauty. I'm gonna go ahead and read it right quick. Quote, "Are you looking for men with a fine culture? Then you will have to be satisfied with restricted views and sights, exactly as when you were looking for fine countries. There are, of course, such panoramic men. They are like panoramic regions, instructive and marvelous, but not beautiful." End quote. And then yeah, it just goes hand in hand with the limitations of what we deem to be beautiful, or what we deem to be aesthetic or pleasing or whatever within this confined moral framework. And this is a beautiful analogy or metaphor that, when you look for men with such fine culture, the embodiment of the morality that they're currently in, or the embodiment of the times that they're living in, they are going to seem as beautiful and as a great sight to behold, because based upon the standards of our time, these are the ideals. These men have become the ideals, or the ideals personified, and this is what we should chase based upon the standards in place, right? But when you are only looking for such men with fine culture and the embodiments of a very specific section of the world, you're restricting your vision. And that's something that he always comes back to discuss or write about, really, is that while they may be panoramic and you may go to a far off country and just see the fine places of it all, you're not getting the bigger picture out of that country or place or region, or wherever the case may be, right? You're looking at a very sectionalized, very restricted, very subjective portion of beauty. You're not getting the full glimpse of it all. So how can it possibly be beautiful? It may be something, like I said, instructive and marvelous, but how can it be beautiful if you don't get the full picture? There's no contrast, there's no gradations. That's part of the beauty of it, right? Like the part of the beauty of nature, for example, is not only, oh, there's this open plain and the sun is rising, and that's the only time that, those are the only moments in which nature could be deemed beautiful. But what about when there's a giant storm, or when you're looking outside your window and there's just a deluge, or you just see the lightning and the power and the ferocity of nature, and that is also something beautiful to behold. It's very serene, open, blue sky, just blue everywhere, and out of nowhere it could switch and turn into this monstrous, unstoppable force. But that's the gradation of its exhibiting power or not is part of what makes nature so beautiful. It's not just this one instance or one mode in which nature has, and we have to look at it the same way for individuals. those who are always moral are not really thinkers, right? Because if you really thought, then you would be able to outthink your way out of morality, right? Like, how much thinking can you possibly do just following instructions? How much thinking can you possibly do trying to justify that which was already been established? You're not some cavalier, how can that be beautiful? If you're not going against the grain, you're just another cog in the machine. What's so beautiful about such things? And these are the questions we have to ask when we even look at, influencers nowadays that try to be, or that we try to hold up to that standard of the ideal that we are chasing. Is, a lot of times they seem quite boring and quite repetitive and mundane. Walking with the stench of the market, always, everyone really sounding the same. But that is like, you could look at it nowadays, really, like what we consider to be beautiful is everyone dressing the same, acting the same, and doing dumb shit all the time, and following the same argument, same points of argument and thoughts, and that's what we consider to be beautiful. But where is the beauty in that? Where is the beauty in the monotony? Why can't we deem beauty to be something that goes against the grain? That's a big question, and that's obviously just another big obstacle, is that what we deem to be beautiful has to fit within the parameters of what the prevailing morality, or the base, and what is morality. The voice of the many, the voice of the crowd, right? The voice of civilization telling you what to do. And to be beautiful is to place yourself and to restrict yourself in a way that is conducive to the continuation of the current civilization that you're living in, right? That's what civilization, that's what morality really is. But, it really is very restrictive when you look at it that way. When you want to see something as beautiful within that very restricted framework, you'll never get a glimpse of the big pictures. You're always going to be a step behind. You're always going to get caught unawares, because you're not willing to see, you're not willing to be pleased, or you're not willing to be attracted to other things that are beyond what society deems to be beautiful at this present moment. You have to be willing to go beyond that pale, right? And many different aspects, beyond the pale of such morality, beyond the pale what society tells you is beautiful and why it is beautiful. These are questions that you have to ask. It's like, why are these men considered to be the essence of culture? Why are they at the top of this? What are they concealing from society? What are they hiding? What are they embodying? What prejudices are they pushing with this refined individual? When they're telling you this is the essence of a culture and man, why? Why should it? What leads to this? What do I become out of being like this? These are a lot of questions in the current that we have to ask with it, when we are using the current frameworks of the word beautiful. Because I'm not a fan of what people consider to be beautiful nowadays. I think it's quite repulsive. It's quite superficial. With the access of everything becoming so easily accessible, we've lost substance, and with losing substance, even what we consider to be beautiful has lost its way as well, has lost its substance as well. And I don't want to look more as the just panoramic men that say what you're supposed to say, do what you're supposed to do, and consider that to be a role model. When, as we discussed in previous videos, those who continue to follow or only follow the prevailing morality really don't get far in terms of history or making an influence. It's the anti-moral men that end up revolutionizing the world, and those are the men that we have to look at. And we always have to also take into consideration that a lot of the men that became the moral standards that we look up to first started off as immoral, as villains, as heathens. Look at someone like a Socrates, right? A man that was forced to drink poison, and now we can stop extolling the virtues of Socrates. a Plato who's not allowed to enter public office because one of his uncles or whatever was one of the 30 tyrants and shit. So he had that stain on his name. And we could say that resentment of that seeped into his philosophical work, but that's a conversation for another time. But I like this sort of metaphor because it really does clearly it helps you clearly understand that when you're looking for fine countries, you'll never get a good look at the whole world and all that it entails, and affirming that what comes with that, not just the beauty and the blue and the dawn of the day and all this boring bourgeois, idealizations or pictures of what it is, a beautiful set or beautiful scenery. But, looking at storms and the desolation of the deserts and all this other stuff, all this beautiful but very dangerous and lethal aspects of the world also should be considered beautiful, because in its entirety, in its totality, you have the world. You don't get beauty without the destruction. You don't get beauty without death. You don't get beauty without pressure and force. That should be also fit into what we consider to be beautiful, not just a person that fits into morality like a good little sheep, but one that is willing to get away from that, and someone that's willing to make their own imprint and bring force and energy and power and virility. That should also be considered beautiful, because that's just like nature, right? We don't just consider nature like we just clear skies. The beauty and terror, the terror and serenity make beauty, and that's we should abstractly compartmentalize that definition to us, that we can't just be good all the fucking time and then call ourselves beautiful. And we have to be capable of doing what needs to be done, or exerting force and power in order to be beautiful, in order to have those proper gradations, and to be a beautiful person, not just be so boring and not just be one freaking thing all the time. How can that possibly be beautiful when it's so limited? It seems so lazy in its approach and development, right? How can that to me shouldn't be a role model, because then you're going to do yourself a disservice, because then you will never be able to look at the bigger pictures, or the bigger picture. I don't know why I keep saying it plurally, but it's a good thing, because like I said, it comes with the recent videos, because he talks about when are we looking at beauty at those men that are considered to be horrific. These are those very difficult questions to ask oneself, but it helps you broaden your scope of what is possible once you rid yourself of the facade of what morality now considers to be beautiful. A good sheep is beautiful according to the prevailing morality, right? Once you get down, that's a very reductionist way of looking at it, but if you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty, that's really what it is, right? So I like where this is ending up going. There's gonna be more videos coming out soon, of course, but we're almost there. He's really wrapping this up in a very strong way. I think everything is starting to culminate, now that we've gone past the restrictions that is morality, the restrictions that civilization has placed upon us, and why are these restrictions in place. And once you overcome that definition, the definition of many words will change, and hopefully to your benefit. That's the point, right? We're all selfish, and we need to go on our selfish endeavors. But yeah, that would be all for today. Another little aphorism that reminds oneself to broaden the horizons. When something looks terrible, you have to not look at it isolated, just see as terrible, therefore bad, but affirm life in a way that it's an integral and beautiful component of the gradations of life, and what makes it beautiful, what makes it interesting, and what makes it enticing to continue playing this game of suffering in life, right? So I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you all for listening and watching. I do hope you have a beautiful day. Make some beautiful and gloriously painful gains. And until next time, guys, love y'all. Peace.